This is America's Workforce, the voice of working families in Northern Ohio. One solid hour of fact-finding features, in-depth interviews, informative news segments, and practical consumer reports. Tune in now and every weekday afternoon from 4 to 5 as we stand up for you, your family, and our community. Now, here's your host, Ed Flash Barrett.
All right, let's go to line number one. Welcome one of our regulars and a sponsor of America's Workforce, Mr. Jimmy Williams, who is General President of the Painters and Allied Trades. IUPAT.org is your website. Jimmy, good afternoon to you, sir.
Good afternoon, Flash. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. And you are at the, the Legislative Conference of the Building and Construction Trades Department. And that started, I believe, Sunday. How's that going?
Well, quite honestly, the atmosphere down here is all looking forward till Friday, which the proposed shutdown in the government. So last night we had a reception, and we probably had well over 40 congressmen. As a matter of fact, Betty Sutton and Dennis stopped by from the area, and 4 or 5 U.S. senators. And, you know, our message is always about jobs. And, you know, their message was, hey, we need help. And I said, yeah, and that's what we need. We need help. We need jobs. So we've been legislating or lobbying today. We had a great day up on the Hill. We had over 200 of our people visiting their home, senators and congressmen, pushing our issues. So it's been a eventful week, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, and you got to speak pretty loudly on this one, because in your sector, and we talk about this so many times, in the construction sector, what's the unemployment, like 22%?
Well, it's at least that, but what I've always measured my employment by hours, because the biggest fallacy when people see a construction worker, they say, "Oh, they make all that money an hour." You only make that hourly wage when you work.
Right.
So last year, our pension hours were down 33%.
Oh boy.
Okay, from the year before, which was also down from the year before that of 20. High in 2008, we had a very good 2008, but 2009 and 2010 has been a steady decline. So our guys are hurting right now. They're hurting big time.
Yeah. Are there any bright spots?
Cleveland. I swear to God, Cleveland. I had our business manager last night, Jimmy Watroba. And Jimmy just said to me, he said, I don't know where we're going to find the men. And he totally blew me away. There's a lot of work coming up in the Cleveland area for our guys, and we're very, very excited about it, because there's not too many bright spots. and he's hoping to bring, he said to me, you'll have all his people back to work and call some of the guys that we lost, plus reach over into Michigan and get some guys. So, being we're on the air in Cleveland, that's the positive side.
That's kind of funny. Yeah, we got some pretty cool projects. This medical mart is over $500 million that they're putting together. Plus, we got casinos coming to Cleveland, and we have the Interbelt Bridge contract. So that is good. So Cleveland has been beat up.
The rest of the country's down, and Cleveland's booming.
I love that. All right. So this legislative conference has been going on. It started on Sunday. You're doing a lot of lobbying with the lawmakers. Jimmy, I got to ask you this. These lawmakers, and I recall back in the fall, they all campaigned on one word: jobs.
Mm-hmm.
And the first thing that they do, many of them, especially a lot of these governors, they've attacked people with jobs. Where's the message? How did this message get so convoluted here?
Well, quite honestly, and I want to blame us a little bit, because we just are not forceful enough when it comes to these politicians. And the message this week has been clear and direct. Okay, to all the people. And last night, I'm going to tell you, we had Republicans that came and supported our issues in Congress. I mean, you talk about the speaker in Ohio. Well, there was 2 issues earlier this legislative year. We won both of them. One was on Davis-Bacon, and the other one was on PLAs. Mm-hmm. So we had over 40 Republican congressmen cross over that believed in jobs. okay, and had the guts to stand up, through a lot of criticism. And quite honestly, Flash, which was, a little bit, taken back by me, I had a lot of Democrats complain to me because we supported some of these Republicans. But, we got to support the people that support our membership, no matter what their party is.
Yeah. Why don't you run down what happened on those two issues, the PLAs and Davis-Bacon?
Well, Davis-Bacon, it was passed by a Republican congressman, okay, in 1931.
Mm-hmm.
And it basically sets wages and benefit standards for federally assisted construction sites. In fact, the law improves the economic benefits that accrue to local communities. So, let's look at just the money, okay? So, if we can mandate through Davis-Bacon that Joe gets paid X and taxes are paid on X, this helps local communities. So people do not come in, undercut the wages, undercut the standards, okay, and don't pay the proper taxes to the communities that fund everything.
Right.
Now, since the mid-'80s, we've moved away from the federal government financing this, all of our things, and they've dumped it on the local communities, which are broke.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all these things that these governors are facing today, okay, and they're not handling it, properly. If they were to look at the positive of Davis-Bacon, we're going to look at the positive of PLAs, projects done on time, on budget, okay, no work stoppages. This would truly, be to their benefit to address it that way. But, sometimes they don't see it that way, but project labor agreements, workforce agreements, stabilization agreements all work to the benefit of the community.
So, Jimmy, even though this makes a whole lot of sense, and we've even had experts talking about PLAs and prevailing wage, even though they make sense, there's still members in Congress that like to attack them.
Well, they do, and they try to make it a union, non-union issue, and that's the biggest fallacy. PLAs do not exclude non-union workers and non-union contractors. All that it does is it establishes rules that they have to maintain, okay, to complete the project on time, on budget, okay, and it's ridiculous, but it's a fallacy that people just don't understand.
Yeah.
So that's one of our lobbying issues up on the Hill, and we're trying to make sure that some of the congressmen and some of the senators understand the issues. Listen, they got so many things on their plate. I understand that. So hopefully our guys, okay, who are their constituents, can explain to them, in English exactly what these issues mean to us. And then it turns into jobs. So, I was excited today when the buses left the hotel to go up on the Hill. Our guys wore their colors, and they're going to know because, we've taken out some advertisements in the Politico, kind of announcing what we're doing up on the Hill. So they're going to see their members and their constituents walk in with lobbying. So hopefully we'll have we've had a real good day today. I'll wait till I get the evaluation sheets back from our team leaders. And this convention used to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And now it's become a lot of work. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with that because we're sent down here to work for our members, okay? And I must admit I've been coming for over 30 years. And I see the energy of the guys when they left this morning. They're very excited about hitting the Hill and talking to their leaders.
So I get the sense in your conversation here, you're becoming much more politically active. And if you want to give me some examples, you said Politico. You're actually taking ads. You're becoming very proactive in that regard.
Well, when I was a kid, to give you an analogy, when I was a kid, the first portion of the newspaper I opened up was the sports page.
Yeah.
Okay. And as I got older and into my career, I opened up other sections of that. But Politico, okay, which is the Wall Street Journal of the Hill, which is the New York Times of New York City, okay, which is the main communication, vehicle for every person in Congress. We decided, and our political department, our government affairs department, decided that we had to announce that. So the very first ad they see this morning and I've seen all week from us in taking out this advertisement, was about jobs, about our issues. So they opened it up so they can brief, the congressman on what might happen today.
Mm-hmm.
So it's more or less like an agenda for Congress.
Yeah.
And it's a must read for all the staffers and all the administrative aides. So, we got two young guys that do a great job for us in our government affairs department, and they came up with this idea. They ran it by me. I said, "Hey, go for it."
Mm-hmm.
And we've gotten a lot of responses last night. Like I said, the Congress people that stopped by last night told me, "Oh yeah, we've seen your ad in Politico. And it is about jobs, Jim." And I'm going, okay, so then we got a little return on our investment. So
Good. I like that. Get in their face. That's what it's all about.
That's communicating today in a different fashion. I mean, I'm 60 years of age. I mean, who would ever think that I would Facebook, I would Twitter, I still got to get my 2-year-old grandson to turn the TV on for me.
I know it's pretty complicated today, Jimmy. I got to take a break. When we come back, let's talk about what's the battle in some of the states, and I guess you got some pretty good news out of Wisconsin. Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right, Jimmy Williams on our live line. He's head of the Painters and Allied Trades. Also, Dan Troy, Lake County Commissioner Dan Troy, will be talking about the effects of the Kasich budget in his community. All on Labor Radio, 1490 WERE. Back in a few minutes. Don't go away. Go back to line number one, Jimmy Williams of the Painters and Allied Trades, reporting from the Legislative Conference in Washington at the building trades. Jimmy, I want to talk to you about what's going on. The battle, it seems to have shifted to the states with all these Republican governors attacking workers. I could only imagine you're familiar with what's going on here in Ohio?
It was a topic of conversation we had yesterday at our executive council meeting in Washington, D.C. And, President Trump, basically said we got to ramp up our efforts in Columbus. So you might be seeing, a little bit more activity there, okay? And, I know that, we've assigned people in there to work on the issues. We know what's coming up with the ballot initiative, and we're ready to attack it.
Yeah. Okay,
the one problem we've had in Ohio is so many people have lost their jobs that a lot of our base has left Ohio, Flash.
Oh, that's sad.
And we could have the same feelings that we had in Wisconsin if these people didn't lose their jobs over the last few years.
Mm-hmm.
So what we have to do is reach into the community, and it's not just, talking to our members, but it's talking to everybody in the community.
Yeah. The message that we got to get through to, it's not just an attack on public employees, because if they get away with this, they just can't get away with this because it's going to affect everybody, union and non-union.
Well, that's why we have our campaign, the We Are One. We are all one in this together. It's so easy to separate the building trades from the public employees, or manufacturing unions from the transportation unions. Okay, and we can turn around and go right down the list with the public employees, with the nurses. But this is truly an attack on all of the working class. And there's a bigger separation today than there ever was. And we got to put a stop to it.
Yeah. Tell me about Wisconsin. Wasn't there there was an election yesterday, I know, for a county executive and also, I believe, a Supreme Court race? What do you know so far?
The Supreme Court race yesterday, the turnout was the highest ever for a Supreme Court race. And we had a 26-year incumbent. It's in a neck-and-neck battle. I mean, it is percentage points separating the two. They probably won't know for another day or so.
Mm-hmm.
They're counting absentee ballots that were the highest absentee ballots ever recorded in a lot of the counties. Okay, Dean County and Milwaukee County, people just, they have a same-day registration there.
Yeah.
So a lot of the polling places really weren't up to address the big crowds that showed up. And, that race is just about a dead heat. But the good news is Governor Walker's ex-seat there in Milwaukee, where he was the famous county executive that slashed and burned everything, the Democrats took that seat back by over 20 points.
Oh, boy. Which
was, when you got an incumbent, you got a certain base that you've helped. So that was a big victory. Along with that, there was a tremendous amount of petitions signed for recalls. So it was a good day in Wisconsin. The people are energized. I mean, we got a report from our people in the field that, that have worked Wisconsin before that said they've never seen anything like it. And hopefully we can take that same energy right from Wisconsin and dump it over into Ohio.
Mm-hmm. So I take it you're involved in the recall movement in Wisconsin?
We are involved in anything, anywhere, okay, in these state battles, because that's exactly what we call it, the state battles. Okay, whether it be Indiana, New Jersey, Pennsylvania. I mean, it's in committee in my home state, Pennsylvania, right now, right to work.
Mm-hmm.
And the governor, of Pennsylvania said that he would not address the issue. Okay, but what he's getting pressure, from the party to bring these issues up, to test the waters, to see where people are. So we got to be prepared. We got to mobilize wherever we go. As a matter of fact, this afternoon, after the guys get back from the Hill, I'm going to, kind of address them on what we have to do when we go back to our cities from this convention tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah, I see Right to Work also popped up in, New Hampshire. And,
New Hampshire.
And now your members have fought that back?
Yeah, we've had our political director, the Jack Hayne of the Eastern region, Nelson Thompson, has been up there working with our political people for quite some time, and it's in committee right now. But guess what? It's not going to come out, and I think we're going to be able to defeat it. So we're working hard. We've hired some lobbyists up there to help us with it. But everybody, it's an all-out attack.
Yeah, in the statistics, once again, it's just like PLAs and prevailing wage. The stats even bear it out. Wages in right-to-work states are 3.2% lower than in states without the law, and workers are also less likely to have employer-sponsored health insurance and employer-sponsored pensions. I mean, it's essentially a race to the bottom. Jimmy, don't these lawmakers, these lawmakers, of course, they've got great pensions, they got great benefits. It's like that they don't want anybody else to have what they have. You ever get that? You ever get that feeling?
Well, sure. I mean, right here in this beltway here, every single law that is passed in Congress, you know who the people that it don't affect?
Congress.
The congressmen. I mean, they're exempt from the laws that they write.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, and you know what? American people just don't understand what's going on. And as far as their health care, they say, we're going to give them the same health care as they gave us. They're talking about, slashing Medicare and Medicaid.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, you know what? I know quite a lot of people, and they call it welfare reform. Welfare reform, Medicare, Medicaid. And my parents, God rest them, their souls, they're both passed away.
Mm-hmm.
But that was their only source of benefits.
Right.
Okay, and they worked their whole lives. I mean, the separation between the haves and the have-nots is getting so great that we got to fight even harder to maintain what we got.
Yeah, this guy, was it Paul Ryan? I believe he's from Wisconsin, too.
Yes.
He wants to create vouchers for Medicare, and I had heard that they'd be valued at like $11,000. So when which is how quick you can go through $11,000 with a hospital, right? And when you're done with that, you're done.
Or a part of the haves, and then you just pay for it yourself.
Right.
And he said, just like I do. Well, well, give me your congressional job, give me your congressional benefits, and I'll take that.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't want to do that. Okay, you want to take away from. But you know what? I got good news. We sent out recently a letter to all our retirees, and we asked them. We said, look, we got to defend these issues. We need your support. We need your help. Overwhelmingly, I had one lady with an $81 a month pension. She said, I'm okay. My husband passed away. He loved his union. I'd like to donate my $81 pension to your political action efforts. And I looked at it. I told our administrator, we can't accept that, but call this lady and talk to her. She insisted upon turning over her whole check to the union.
Isn't that something?
So there are people out there that remember. The problem is we got to keep this younger generation in tune to what's going on, because that old school mentality is being lost in the me generation. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And we got to make sure that they understand. You know what I mean? That what's going on out there in this workforce.
Yeah.
And what these politicians are doing.
Right. Well, the good news is, what Walker did in Wisconsin, what Kasich is doing here in Ohio, has certainly energized all of organized labor. That's a good thing. I think some of the results that you indicated out of Wisconsin are true indication of that. So we just got to keep moving forward. That's the bottom line.
Well, I think he's in line for an award. I was with the president of the AFL-CIO in Pennsylvania. They're seriously considering giving Scott Walker the Man of the Year award. Okay? And, I said, well, he said, I don't know how they take it, but, he's definitely done more for labor than a lot of people.
Yeah, he really has. All right, I'm going to leave it on that note. Jimmy, thank you so much for the
Thank you, Flash.
For the sponsorship.
And you have a nice day, and I'll make sure that Mr. Hain gets back to you today.
Okay, I appreciate that. Okay?
Take care.
Take care. Jimmy Williams, General President of the Painters and Allied Trades on America's Workforce. All right, it's 41 past the hour. We're going to break when we come back. Dan Troy, Lake County Commissioner, the effects of the Kasich budget and more next. Back in a few.